bring in Harris supporter and L.A. Congresswoman Sidney Kamlager-Dove. Congresswoman, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Why do you think some black men are having second thoughts about supporting Harris?
Well, I don't know if they're having second thoughts about supporting Kamala Harris, but I do know that black men have felt historically left.
See, that's where we have to stop her right there, you guys. They're under the impression that we feel left out. We're not left out. We just feel left out. This is a goddamn Democrat. These are the people who are supposed to be representing us, and this is how they talk. They got all these people who are out there against black men, and those are the people who they're asking the questions of black men. Ask a black man. Obama had a whole bunch of them in the room, and he was busy telling them how it's cracking instead of asking a question. He didn't ask no questions. He was pointing it out. And this woman here is just ridiculous, like the rest of them. But they're pro-Kamala, so they're delusional. They're not being real about it. They're not looking out for us. They really are looking out for her.
Left out and marginalized out of political conversations. And so this is a moment where they want their presence to be seen and heard.
Meaning we kind of causing a little ruckus, so Kamala has a response for us. And this is the part of the whole situation that's pissed me off, is that we're 3 weeks away from the election, 21 days, and she's just rolling out a black plan or plan for black men right now. But what they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So why didn't she continue to run from the media? Why did she continue not to address black men directly from her microphone? Because that shit wasn't working. I don't give a fuck what she say at this point. I mean, unless she says, going in, I'm going to sign in an executive order within the first 100 days to start reparations, not a study. She's still talking about a study. Kamala Harris is supposed to be a black woman, and she's talking about a study. The only reason any black people should be asking for a study is because that's the only thing they'll give us. Because that's the only reason. Who the hell needs a study? We don't need a study. We need to sit down and start talking turkey. We got the numbers. We know what the racial wealth gap is. Anything where we're losing is as a result of slavery and break us off. Prison, we already know. We got the stats. We got all this shit. She wants to stall, and she wants the black vote. And we just can't do that, y'all.
And it is evident that Vice President Kamala Harris is listening to them. She's just released an economic opportunity agenda for all.
For all. An opportunity economy agenda for all. When you put that word all and others in these lines, I'm going to leave a link below. Go down and check the link. And it's going to be it'll take you to a site where you can read her plan for black men. And the first provision on her list says black men and others. And that's when they're speaking about that $1 million worth of forgivable loans in $20,000 or $25,000 intervals. I had to read over that again, but it says for black men and others. And then if you read it with that mind, see, you can't listen to politicians speaking as fast as they do and as slick as they do, and in one listen and just get it. You got to first understand how they speak and how they're deceiving you in their speech. I got friends calling me all the time saying, black popcorn. I know you're going to vote for her now. And I'm like, why? Whoa, what happened? Oh, man, she got a plan out there for the black guys. And I'm like, what? And I'm like flipping channels. What happened? And then you get to it, and it's shit for all and others and us and we. She don't have a plan for black men. And it's just too hard to just admit it and just take your lumps rather than lie to steal their vote from them. And then when you get voted in, you will never, ever, the amount of time you're taking right now is the most amount of time any black man can ever expect from you. And we'd be fools to give you our vote only to be ignored. You ignored us for the last 4 years. You have been the VP. If you were a black person's VP, you'd have been going to Biden and hitting and pulling on him. Hey, man, I'm VP, making me look bad. I plan on running for president one day. And I want to have the black people behind me because I'm doing stuff for them and not because I'm black, like y'all think.
That really talks about home ownership. It talks about simplifying IRS filings. It talks about increased subsidies for, for entrepreneurs and tax deductions for new.
All that stuff she's saying is not exclusively for black men. That would be too much like reparations or anything along those lines. No one has ever done it before. What makes us think Kamala Harris is going to come along and do it now? You can't be forecasting what bills are going to end up on your desk, but you say it all the time in your speeches, and a lot of people who I know get confused by that, and especially if they don't understand how laws work and how they get passed. And they're thinking, oh yeah, Kamala said, I remember back in your first run for the presidency, you and Al Sharpton got up on a mic and he said, Miss President, or whatever the fuck he called you at that time, would you sign the reparations bill into law if it came across your desk? And you got on the mic and said, I would sign the reparations package into law if it came across my desk. And there was a whole room full of black people, of course, with Al Sharpton being there. And they just started screaming and hollering. And I was like, that's fucked up. And here we are 4 years later, and you still talking about a study being done on reparations. But back then, you making us believe if it came across your desk after you won back then, which you wouldn't have done no way, no how, just like now. But you saying, yeah, if it come across my desk, that sound good to a black person who never heard nothing like that, and your ears are here. You like, whoa. You looking at TV and you might be walking in the room with a plate of food or walking out of the room and you just go, did I hear that right? And then you go back in there and all these black people just cheering and you're like, oh my God. Now, but I guess people didn't believe it because back then you was polling less than 2% among black people. But fast forward to 2024. Here you are on a show trying to justify us never getting reparations. Oh, a study must be done first. We can't even get a study through Congress. How in the hell we ever gonna get reparations through there? Proposal to black men or whatever the fuck that was, and expect us to be happy about it. It's just like, unless you're gonna give us some kind of exclusive rights to ownership of weed, that's different. But if we don't have no exclusive rights to the licensing of the weed businesses, then don't be talking about. Don't put that in our shit. We don't need that at all. We need some other stuff. You be tripping, Kamala.
Businesses. It talks about investing into healthcare for diabetes, prostate cancer, sickle cell disease.
They could have said this shit from the beginning of when we got here. We've always died at higher rates, all this shit, and they ain't figured it out yet that let's just give black people free medical as a starter, because at least we can save their lives, improve their health, so they'll be here alive on the right side of the dirt. If we ever get around to paying them some reparations, we can at least make their health better and make it not cost them anything, since we experimented on them so heavily during the slavery times, when a doctor could go to the auction and buy a couple of slaves and take them back to his dungeon and just experiment on them at his leisure and do whatever he wanted to do to them, and because they owned them. And that's the advancement of medicine in the United States of America in that time period. So, do you know what I'm saying? And then slaves are released and they still experimenting on black people and shit. You know what I mean? But they don't know. They got to do a study. What kind of study that Kamala Harris need to do? Her parents were closely aligned with the civil rights movement, she says. She was going out there being pushed in a stroller. I wasn't. Kamala Harris and me are 2 months apart. She was born in October, November, December, and January, 3 months. And I was born in January. So we are very close in age, 3 months apart. She was born in the end of 1964. I was born the first month in 1965. And let me tell you something about that. She was being pushed out there in these civil rights marches and boycotts. And she remember in her stroller, people yelling and screaming is what she's saying and all this stuff. and she's got the damn nerve to get in front of a television camera, being that heavily steeped in blackness, and she's talking about a study being done. That's where they lose me. Like when Obama was up there talking and he was saying that part about she went to school, she went to college with you guys. She's in your neck, that kind of shit. Motherfucker, we not no circus act or no monkeys or nothing. We are human beings, and she should be trying to be of black people and not quit talking to black people, because she gives herself away when she does that. Because black people don't talk to black people in the third person and shit. We talk about we and us when we're talking about ourselves, and not black people. We don't say that shit unless we're like reading a news story or referring to somebody as a physical description. But when we're talking about ourselves as black people and our culture and all that shit, we don't talk about ourselves the way Kamala do. She does a lot of things that black people don't do. And that just goes back to her statement. She's pulled away from it. I think she got some people back there checking her, but she slips up a little bit. But that dumbass shit she said about her mother raising two black girls to be strong black women, you can't do it. It's impossible. If your dad was from Watts and left your mom as early as yours did, your mom would not be capable of raising you guys as black, or you might even look more black than you do now, but you wouldn't be able to be raised as a strong black woman because you don't have a strong black woman raising you. That's impossible. You could have been raised to be a strong South Indian woman, but not black. That's impossible.
Many things that black men care about, and I think she is showing that she is listening to black men across this country.
One person that knows a thing or two about winning over black male voters is former President Barack Obama. He said that he thinks some sexism is at play when it comes to Kamala Harris. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. Barack Obama is not wrong. I will also say that this country has a history of misogyny. We have the opportunity to...
Rather than answer the question and talk about what they're talking about, the country has a problem with misogyny, and the country has a problem with goddamn racism. Why don't we just say that? And then we don't even have to get the misogyny and male chauvinistic attitudes and all that other bullshit. The country has a problem with racism, but it's a problem that we're not willing to shed yet. We're willing to fight for it. And then when I hear Kamala Harris fighting and screaming about fighting for this democracy and fighting, I feel like she's okay with the way things are. I'm not. Personally, I'm not. Now, I'm not going to go out there and start climbing up the side of the walls of the Capitol and busting windows and all of that. My only way of responding in a way that I guess it can be heard in any capacity is my vote. And that's why I'm not going to vote for Kamala Harris, because it's foolish to vote for somebody who don't give a fuck about you, who really don't. And oh no, I'm not voting for Trump either. But Jill Stein's platform lines up. Shit, I was on Cornel West wagon up until about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And Jill Stein's platform needs to be read. I'll leave a link of Jill Stein's platform down there as well. But I need to look at Jill Stein's and then look at Kamala's. I'm going to put them both down there. You guys are going to be like, God damn, Kamala Harris is wrong for that, y'all. She going around masquerading as a black person and doing us dirty like that. And 3 weeks to go and she done finally got the black men. After us, there is nobody else. We're at the bottom. So I don't think there'll be any other stops they can pull out. She's hitting all the entertainment type, Breakfast Club. She been on a lot of shit. She's doing her little whirlwind tour, because if she makes some mistakes, it'll be another one the next day and she can clean it up, and it'll be, the news cycle won't really pick up nothing right now because she's pushing these interviews so close together, and it's just going so fast. Magic Johnson was on stage introducing her, and then Obama went and wagged his finger at people, and it's just so much each day. It's a news cycle, and Obama's kind of sticking in there a little longer than he should have. He should have shut the fuck up and been out there kissing black guys' ass and being nice about it. Obama is not the kind of black guy that we look at, and feel like we have a whole lot in common with and all that. Other than the way he looks, he's different on the inside than most black men are. That's why a black man from the culture know not to be talking to brothers like that. You know what I'm saying? And surprisingly, the brothers who was sitting around took it. Because somebody should have spoke on that shit, especially the way things is going now. We need to start speaking out of turn. We have to. We ain't got nothing to lose. We're at the bottom. They trying to replace us with Mexicans and El Salvadorians and all the illegal immigrants who are coming in. But they're not illegal immigrants because they're making them legal. And then you hear them talking openly about we're not making enough babies in this country. We need to bring labor in from, that's what they're saying. And then we, the citizens, are looking at it like, oh, their countries are so bad down there that we got to let them in here for asylum, to get them away from the cartels and hunger and all that. But that's all. Think about it, you guys. I mean, really think about it. The people down on the border are coming over in Nikes and Reeboks and hoodies. Now, I'm not saying the people aren't poor, don't get me wrong. But what I am saying is you don't see famine down there on that border. You know what I'm saying? You don't see the United States having to go down there with large amounts of food to keep people alive and in first aid medical care. These people are walking into the goddamn country and climbing fences and doing stuff. So there's nothing physically going on there that's preventing them from transporting their own self into the country, which is an illegal movement. But then once they get over, then the United States makes it up. You made it. You're legal. They're working against us. They got us believing these people are sneaking into the country, and they're letting them into the country, and they got us fighting amongst ourselves. And every time that border comes up, Kamala Harris starts sweating. Why do you let Donald Trump call you the border czar? She you're the border czar. And the thing about it is, anything that's making those people come up into the United States of America, and they need to appoint you to go down and investigate that, is a damn lie. The United States doesn't have to go and investigate why a whole bunch of migrants are coming in the country. We done probably overthrew their government or fucked up some shit in the country or sanctioned them or something that made it real hard for them to make money, and the people in the town dried up and people just said, fuck it, let's go to the United States since they did this shit. They probably feel like we owe them, and we probably do. But the United States needs to be a little more of an open book with its foreign policy so that we can start voting more appropriate. Because if most of us knew what's really going on with all these damn people coming into the country, they found out that Joe Biden was going to be the presidential pick, and they was on their way. And not for no reason. They really got in. So how did they have better communication with our government than us? We had no idea.
Elect the first woman president in 2016, and people couldn't wrap their heads around it.
They can't see. It's something wrong with us. If we don't elect Hillary or we don't elect Kamala, that's their idea of a strong woman leader. That's their idea of who they want to see, because they know those women are going to relinquish power back to these men who are behind the scenes pulling all this. No, we ain't going for it. And nothing's ever going to change for black men. And black men, you have to, when they put you near a mic, they're going to start regretting it. And we are embedded in this society to the point where they can't just hide us like that. We need to just start speaking out. Fuck it. When they get these basketball players after a game, they need to talk about the game and whatever they're contractually obligated to do. And then they need to say some civil rights shit and get some shit going. Yeah, and I think blah, blah, blah. And they'll be like, oh, shit, get the mic away from him. We need to do that more on the regular, and it'll make them leave us alone. And when they do come at us, they know we ain't with that bullshit. They talk to us like we little kids because they know they can say something right in front of you, right to your face, and you didn't even interpret what they said because they speaking slick and fast and lying to you and making people believe they got a plan for black men. There's Kamala's plan for black men. I can't wait. I want y'all to read this. It'll piss you off. And read it slow and read it twice and get pissed off. Like I read it 3 times and I was like, I don't believe this shit. I mean, they undereducate us, and then they expect to take advantage of that shit and try to slip the politicians in on us and take advantage of our, not being the most smartest motherfuckers in the country, because we ain't the most educated motherfuckers in the country. You know what I'm saying? But we do have a different kind of knowledge, and Kamala was trying to touch on that the other day. And it's like, nah, you can't go there, Kamala. You can't go there like that. You trying to put yourself in a place where you are not really, you're not really a part of it, and you need to back up and continue to talk about us in the third party and fourth and fifth party like you're doing. Obama the same shit. She went to college with you. When I heard that, I was like, wow. So is that what it is? He probably was like, hey, good move. Wow. SBCU, that was slick. Yeah, going to a black college. Boy, I tell you, that don't make you black. But SBCUs need to shut it down and quit letting other races in for real. You need to have DNA testing done. Make it fucking, you know what I'm saying? Everything people want to do that we do. Oh, I want to do that. They got a college. I want to go. They can go. But we want to, a business? Wow, I want to own a business. Man, that'd be cool. No.
We've learned the lesson, hopefully, from that in 4 years of Donald Trump. And look at what just happened in Mexico, where they elected a woman to lead that country.
Yeah, they ain't got missiles that you can kill anybody in the world with. It's a whole different ball game, believe me. You guys want Kamala in so the Democratic Party can continue doing what they're doing in the Middle East, in Ukraine. You know, there seemed to have been too much talk about Ukraine. They getting Kamala on there and trying to bring up the border. She get a little ruffled. Ooh. But you know what? What's going on over there in Gaza is what they need to be pressing her on. What's going over there in Ukraine, they need to press her on. Those are the things they need to be really, and this goddamn inflation. They're talking about that, it's getting better. I eat daily, and I go to the store at least once or twice a week, and it ain't getting no cheaper. I mean, if I'm tripping, you guys, let me know what part of the country you in. I'll sell my house and move over there, because it's high as hell here.
So I think we are in a different space, but we're still dealing with issues like, women don't get equal pay. We're fighting to champion, prioritizing.
How come black women can say that so clearly? I hear that out of all the black women, college-educated black women, news reporters. We don't get equal pay. We don't get equal pay. And I'm like, wow, they really don't. Men do make more. White men run this shit. They racist and they're, all kind of phobics. You can name a whole list of them. But if you guys ain't getting equal pay, what do you think is going on with black men? They like you guys sexually. They look at you walking through the workplace, and it's a little eye candy for them. I mean, there's a benefit to it. But with us, there's no benefit, except feeling uncomfortable and threatened all day at work. You go to the coffee pot and drink the last of the coffee, and a black dude go in there and go, hey, who drank the last of the coffee? Everybody get to panicking and shit. Damn, motherfucker, I just was asking, make a new pot or whatever. But it's different for us in office spaces, you know what I'm saying? And it's very unfortunate that it's that way. And there are some black men that get in there and thrive, and more power to you. And it just isn't the same for all the rest of us. But this lady here is not living in reality, and she's a Kamala supporter, so you can expect no less. But we're gonna have to expect more out of ourselves, black men. We're getting slapped around, and people don't even come to us and ask us what the fuck going on. They ask somebody else.
Child care. Miss Ledbetter died just the other day, and she was someone who really fought for women's rights and equality, and that was for a very long time. So we still have a lot of work ahead.
Of course we.
Now, how did she get in the Ledbetter? That's that lady. Yeah, Lily Ledbetter Act. I remember when they did that during Obama. So, we're talking about black men. We're talking about black men. That's what I'm saying. You got to ask a black man. A black man wouldn't have started talking about Lily Ledbetter. What is going on? Oh, man.
Had an opportunity to elect a female president back in 2008, but Barack Obama had a thing or two to do about that. And, of course, he won instead with the country choosing the black man over the woman at that point.
Just sickening, ain't it? You're that bullshit. He's choosing the black man over the woman in that point. Yeah, because y'all thought he was smart enough to do anything, and he didn't do anything extraordinary except work with you, take orders, and made it happen, and didn't shake the boat. Like right now, you guys are so afraid that Trump is going to shake that boat up, and I'm excited. Shit, I'm rubbing my hands together. I'm like, man, what are these people, white people, scared? But y'all ain't scared enough. That's why I'm tripping, because I know if it was like really all hands on deck, you'd have hit the black man before 3 weeks out. You'd have hit us early on. Like they'd have been pulling you in the back room saying, Kamala, don't fuck this up. You got to get the black man vote. You would have already knew to shore up your base first. Here we are 3 weeks away from the election. It's millions of people who voted. States already voting. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. How serious was you? You really want to hear your goddamn vote? You got to start this shit when it really matter. And this is the only constituency that you're ignoring. You got everybody else taken care of. You met with your donors first. They is straight. They is on board. You know what I'm saying? The delegates, boom. Everybody just is falling in line. And here we are 3 weeks from the election and finally got to us. That's not going to work. I'm telling you. We ain't that damn stupid. And Lily, this lady talking about Lily Ledbetter, we asking about black men.
Kamala Harris, yeah, historically has avoided risks often throughout her career. And it certainly has done that in terms of interviews. But now she seems to be mixing it up more. She's about to head on to Fox News Channel, sitting down with Charlemagne the God, potentially sitting down with Joe Rogan. These are big swings, big audiences, but big risks.
Yeah, because she needs to take a risk. If you're losing, you ain't got nothing to lose. You got to go for it. And this is what they're telling her. You're going to lose this shit. And she's like, fuck. They're saying you're missing. There was too many people saying on mainstream that you are not doing interviews. Well, fuck it. Do a media blitz. Okay. But, you know, do the soft ones. Don't go and stay your ass where we might have to do. If you're doing Fox, and she is, come on now. You think she thinks she's losing? If you was winning, you wouldn't touch with it. You leave it alone. Don't. Leave it alone. But you ain't doing good, and you know you ain't doing good, and they know you ain't doing good. And they saying, do something. Do something you haven't been doing. She sounded a little better on the interviews, too, but not good enough to be voting for her, though. Hell no.
Is she doing this now because she's behind? Do you think that she's essentially losing right now?
I think she's doing this because she's meeting voters where they are. And voters, audience goers have moved away from traditional networks and are on podcasts. They are on, streaming. And so good for her for being flexible enough to go where the voters.
Yeah, she's not flexible enough. She's desperate enough. And they won't admit that kind of shit. That's what pissed you off. If you know, you know. And I know. She is not doing this because she just wants the voters to know. I know I'm going to win. I'm so far ahead. I got this. But I'm still coming back down to the bottom here and letting you black guys know I got you. And I appreciate. No, that's not it. She desperate. She knows she losing. This lady knows she losing. Kamala is doing things that are very uncharacteristic of this campaign. They swung her in late, and they thought they was going to not have to touch the black man because it'd be like, hey, well, you know what? It's been an abbreviated campaign. We really would like to, but we don't have time. So, she's black, that kind of shit. No, it didn't work. Now they got to do some shit and lose the election and then say, when you hear this talk or discussed later on, they'll be saying, if we'd only courted the black man earlier, or if the black man had only got up off his lazy ass, or if they weren't so stupid and believed Trump. Y'all got all kind of fucked up ass shit to say about us voting for other ways, other than for Kamala. It's black independents voting for Jill Stein. If you're a black independent and you really don't like the Democratic Party and you really don't like the Republican Party, and you go vote for the independents, you know what the Democrats say? the Democratic black supporters say, we gonna lose the country. Oh, you gonna be back in slavery. Project 2025. Have you guys noticed that black people have more fear of Project 2025 than anybody? And then when you say that, they say, because we got the most to lose, they'll lock us up. They'll do this. They've done it. They're doing it. They're discriminating against you. They're underpaying you. You have no business opportunities like the rest of the people in the country. Everything is really, really bad in dire ways. And a lot of people believe because they personally are doing fine, everything's good. And some of them may not be doing as good as they think they are. But if they're comfortable in their life, that's a beautiful thing. But it does not mean you are in your right place in life and in this life when you're being resented against, racially treated bad daily, and not given the opportunities that you deserve. Everybody knows what's going on with that. But this lady here, this is one of Kamala's homies. What do we expect?
What do you think the state of the race is right now?
Woo, this race is going to be won by inches. And so we have to do all that we can to continue to talk about Kamala Harris and her agenda, what's been accomplished under the Biden-Harris administration, Project 2025, and all bad things that are Donald Trump. But look at what's going on in Georgia. Because she has really rallied for that state, 300,000 early votes have just happened, and we know a number of them are going to be Black men. So
that's what I'm talking about. Now, this would be her saying that early votes coming out of Georgia, Atlanta, Black men, that's just being presumptuous. Kamala hasn't done anything for Black men. And this woman is basically saying, just like Obama, they'll vote for you. They'll vote for you. They don't give a fuck. They really don't care. They're going to ride us until the wheels fall off, until they can't no more, until they really realize we've awakened and we have done something different. This might be the election. Hopefully when those final numbers come in after the election's over and they start breaking it down, it's going to be very bad for Black people because they're going to be mad at us. If you'd have just voted for Kamala, Jill Stein got 3%. And if y'all would have gave that 3% to Kamala, it's going to be some bullshit like that. But I really do believe Donald Trump's going to win by a large enough margin where it won't be no big old, everybody think we're going to be waiting 2 and 3 days. That shit going to be announced before we go to bed that night. They're going to have it figured out because Pennsylvania is going to be won by him, and then that's going to be it. We're going to shut it down. There's no reason to go on beyond that. He win his state, she win her states, he win Pennsylvania. The mother swing states are going to be split up however they get split up. She don't win Pennsylvania, she can't win.
I am hopeful, excited, and will be working hard every day to make sure that she wins.
Yeah, and Congresswoman Kamala Dove has been traveling the country, helping to get people out to vote, also doing a Zoom fundraiser just tonight, getting the word out among entertainers and other folks, trying to support her long-term mentor for years, Kamala Harris. Congresswoman, great to see you.
You too. Thank you.
This one here, boy. I'm going to tell you guys something. What trips me out is if the United States government wants to, pad its labor force and work with the corporations in the United States by bringing in more new labor from the South American countries, there's nothing wrong with that. It's really their right to do it. But it's unfair for them to do it in the way they're doing it. They're lying to us and not just openly saying it. Every once in a while, little bits and tidbits of it slip out. But we pretty much know what the deal is. But all the United States government got to do, and especially the Black Caucus and the people who are supposed to be representing us all, should be telling the president, hey, you can bring in all them people, man, but you can't just be doing Black people like that. And lower wage Hispanic people and lower wage white people who live amongst these areas that you're about to dump all these immigrants in. What do you think that's going to be like? Where do you live, Senator? Would you like us to take that amount of people and put them in, close proximity to your neighborhood or right on your neighborhood? No one would. But it's okay for them to do it to other people, but not for their own self. And that's what's unfair. And then to not give us any economic opportunities and to see these little dudes standing out in front of Home Depot and all these places hustling hard when they get here because they just got to go to work. And a lot of them now are being offered actual jobs. So it's not like the old days when they came over and maybe cut lawns or did side jobs just to, a lot of them get their hands on a truck. They probably working weekends or whatever, but they're actually getting jobs with a W-2. And that's a blessing. But it's just that you can't forget. You can't just go around touching things and causing those things harm and then not going back and repairing it. Not going back and fixing it and making it right so that, we want to have a good life. We want legacies. We want things that we can leave that are material and sentimental for our kids and for their kids and their kids. So in 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 generations, one of my grandsons can have something that belonged to me. That's all we want. But on that note, guys, just listen to the words. Please listen to the words. I'm so tired of people. And if you ever go up to somebody and you're telling them some good news that Kamala Harris said, please double check it. Because if it's about black people, it's probably some tricky words in there. And it's like, why does she do that? Why just not come up with a real plan for black men? Because you already said in your next breath that there has to be a study done on reparations, which lets us know right there you're not going to offer anything that would be in line with reparations until a study is done. So then that list you put up isn't really reparations. That's how it is, folks. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.